years of service in the US military, Henry has returned to Hong Kong. He returns to his former school, Tak Kai Secondary. He wants to begin a career as a teacher. The principal admits that he has no past teaching experience. But he gets the job anyway, thanks to a recommendation letter from a higher official. The principal warns Henry before he leaves about the class he is assigned. It is the worst class in the school. Henry arrives in his classroom on his first day. But he finds things in complete shambles. Some kids are napping, singing, or playing video games, while a large number of them are preparing ramen on a portable burner. They aren't bothered by the teacher and carry on with their work. Henry tries to grab their attention, but they act as if they aren't listening. Will he be able to handle a chaotic class like this? He stops attempting to divert their attention. He instead walks around the classroom, sharing opinions about their activities. As ramen contains too much sodium, students who are cooking are advised to eat less of it. Henry then approaches a man named Zufa. He is playing the ukulele and Henry offers to teach him. In a similar manner, he cautions a gamer kid about the dangers of looking at a screen all day. Does this apply to us too? The students finally begin to pay attention to him, so he introduces himself. He writes his name and phone number on the board, with terrible handwriting. The students laughed at it. Then a student phones him and suggests leaving the class. But Henry doesn't mind, and laughs it off. The kids continue to ignore him, and carry on with their activities before he has arrived. Henry has had enough of it. So he uses a rubber band and chalk to activate the room's fire sprinkler. To keep from getting wet, the students immediately split out. He eventually has their entire attention and introduces them to his class. Unexpected, was it? After the class, a group of 5 of the lowest-ranking students enters the sports storage room to smoke. The group's leader, Jack, has a crush on an A-grade student from a different class. The others make fun of him when they see him looking at her photo. The squad has conflicts with the school's basketball team's rich and spoiled students. They enter the supply room and taunt Jack for his poverty. Later, the basketball team is practicing. Jack and the others are watching from a distance. When Jack drops a bottle on the court, the team captain falls. They laugh at the scene and get detention by Miss Liang, the school's English instructor. To escape detention, they perform a joke on her and rush away while she is cleaning her desk. In another part of the school, the principal is upset. It's because the education board intends to cut 20% of the school's annual funding. The board members arrive for a tour of the school. They wanted to see how the funds were being spent. Henry enters the classroom at the same time. Whereas, the pupils had set up a bucket of water to tease him. However, his reflexes beat the falling bucket, and he manages to push it aside. Students who were expecting to make fun of him are astonished. Whoa! Henry knows that Jack smokes. So, he asks for his pack of cigarettes. Jack simply hands him the pack, unsure what he intends to do. Henry then asks Zufa to name the 3 components of a cigarette. When he answers correctly, he is allowed to skip class for the day. Everyone starts banging their desks, asking that they, too, be allowed to skip class. Look who's getting interested now. When they all stop, he hands each of them a cigarette. He instructs them to check it. Henry understands that if he just states the impact on their health, students will ignore him. Instead, he questions the risks of smoking cigarettes. He also explains how smoke builds up in their lungs. They pay attention to the teacher for the first time and appear to be eager to learn. Very well done, sir. We need more teachers like you. He asks them to give back the cigarette after the bell rings, and they reluctantly agree. The captain of the basketball team trips one of Jack's friends, Bruce, in the cafeteria that day. This causes a conflict between the 2 groups, which quickly develops into a big fight. They ruin the place by throwing food and tables at each other. Later, Henry learns that 5 of his classmates have been immediately suspended. The reason was causing the fight. In the corridor, Henry discovers Jack fighting his enemy and meddles. He tells him to calm down. But Jack accuses the school of being unjust because the wealthy students are spared punishment. After school that day, Henry checks over all 5 pupils' files to learn more about them. The first is Zufa. He is the son of a Pakistani immigrant who has always faced racism due to his background. The cops in his neighborhood frequently accuse him of stealing. Zufa's ultimate dream in life is to pursue a career as a musician. Dinan, the second student, is a young lady. Since her birth, she has been a disappointment to her father, who had hoped for a son. Dinan has spent her entire life trying to earn her father's respect. She even cut her hair short and pretended to be a guy by playing with cars. Whereas, her father is unconcerned about her. He is only busy, treating her younger brother like a prince. That sucks. Then there are, the Bruce and Chris brothers. When they were little, their mother ran away with a man. It made their father an alcoholic. Growing up, the brothers had no one but each other to rely on. To avoid reality, Bruce grew addicted to video games, whereas Chris continued to work at a grocery shop to support the family. Poor kids. Finally, Henry is unable to locate any info regarding Jack's family history. Mysterious boy. What do you think of him? In the next scene, we see Jack, working as a servant in a restaurant. Jianying, an MMA bettor, and his business associates, enter the restaurant. Jack steals Jianying's expensive lighter, when he isn't looking, but he is caught. His men beat him up for it. But after checking Jack's ID, he finds out he is a student. So, he gives him some money, and offers him a job, as their food delivery man. Later, Henry goes to Zufa's house. He finds him rushing from his father and his associates, after stealing a ticket. He initially supports him, but after learning why he is being followed, he sides with his father. Then he and Zufa go to the bridge to hang out. Henry sings in the streets with a band, to encourage Zufa to do anything he wants. After being humiliated at school for years, Zufa joins him seconds later. He performs in front of an audience, for the first time. Meanwhile, Bruce and Chris' father, as usual, arrives home late. He asks them to bring him alcohol from the shop, but they refuse to go. He yells at the brothers to leave his house. The next day, Henry approaches their father, and encourages him to go to a therapist, for his son's betterment. Denon's father, in the meantime, brings her a bag of cosmetics. He urges her to dress like a girl, for just a day. Denon is angry at him, because he always makes her feel worthless. She puts makeup on her younger brother, and leaves the house with the car key. She is about to drive away in her father's car, when Henry stops her, just in time. He informs her that driving without a license is against the law. So, he offers an option. They proceed to a go-kart racetrack. Henry also invites her father, pushing them to compete. During the race, the father and daughter show no mercy to each other. Who will win? They eventually end up outside the track. Denon's go-kart is suddenly hit by a vehicle, but she manages to avoid it. Her father, unaware of this, breaks down in tears for his daughter's death. Denon realizes that he loves her, and they hug. The next day at school, Bruce and Chris, along with a group, are assigned a task. They had an interview with a recovering alcoholic at a therapy clinic. They are shocked when they learn that the person they will interview is their father. The kids inquire about his drinking habits. The man responds that he loved his wife sincerely, but she abandoned him when he was at his lowest point. As a result, he began to drink non-stop. He also ignored the fact that he had 2 children to look after. Although, the man does not mention that Bruce and Chris are his sons. Still, he asks for forgiveness from his sons. The brothers are left in tears by the ending. Who's crying? Not me. Jack has started working for Jianying, an MMA bettor. He promises Jack a large sum of money in exchange for drugging a fighter's drink in the upcoming game. Jack is reluctant to accept the offer, but he is pushed to do so. Jianying sponsors a fighter, but bets on his loss in the battle. Jack tries to put drugs in the fighter's drink, but gets caught. He is beaten up and put into a locker before he can blame Jianying. Poor soul. How will he get free? Henry arrives a short while later. He asks the fighters if they have seen his student. The guys ask him to return home. Suddenly, Jack yells for protection from within the locker. When Henry realizes he is being held captive, he fights them and easily beats them. It gets a little tense when the fighters step in. But still, Henry avoids their attacks easily. By the end, he had knocked out their best fighter, who was meant to fight in a couple of minutes. They are at the hospital in the next scene. Henry gets treated for his wounds. Jack wants to tell the truth about Jianying, but he is told to keep quiet. The news soon makes it to the media. Henry becomes recognized as the man who saved his student by beating up a professional fighter. His popularity develops at school. The students begin to appreciate him. In contrast to how they were previously, they even get up to greet him in class. That's one accomplishment. A flashback shows that Henry used to be a troublemaker while he was in school. He even tossed water balloons at a child who was performing a piano concert for his parents. He later beat the same pupil. He also fractured his hand in the process. After the incident, he was suspended and forced to fly to the United States. Did your views changed about him? Starting that day, the pupils pay close attention in class when Henry is lecturing. They even study properly for the approaching college admission exam. Everyone is doing well, with the exception of Bruce. He has developed a drug addiction. While Chris turned to video games to escape his family's problems, Bruce began taking drugs. He performs poorly in the mock entrance exam, due to his lack of focus. Henry offers to help him, but Bruce's depression worsens over time. He eventually jumps off their house's balcony. He is taken to hospital and goes into a coma. The story is manipulated by the media. They blame the school and Henry for what Bruce did. The school board conducts an interview with Henry. They decide to suspend his teaching license. The students surround him as he packs his belongings. They begs after him to stay as he leaves the school. Heartbreaking, right? They are upset by his absence. But they realize that to make him proud, they must nail their next test. They study twice as hard after that. They wanted to show the board that Henry is an excellent teacher. On the day of the exam, Henry texts Jack and his classmates. He invites them to gather in the school 1 hour before the exam. When the students assemble, they discover that Jianying's plan was to keep them locked in the school. As a result, they wouldn't be able to make it to the examination hall on time. He wanted to teach Henry a lesson. Henry arrives at school a moment later and learns about Jianying's plan. He frees the students and tackles Jianying's gang to save the children from being harmed. While Henry fights Jianying, they flee and make their way to the examination hall. Run kids run. While fighting, Jianying claims that he was the guy who Henry had thrown water balloons at when he was a kid. He was unable to compete in a major music competition because Henry had broken his arm. He hasn't touched a piano since the accident. That's why he hates Henry for destroying his career. Oops. Henry tries to talk with him, but he is once again attacked. They are trying to gain a knife. Finally, Henry gets a chance to kill him, but stops in the end. He goes away after apologizing for what he did when he was younger. What are your views on this? The kids arrive on time for the examination and complete the test. Few weeks later, they all pass with flying colors. Jianying picks up the piano again. But he still has a long way to go before he can play as well as he used to. Bruce's health gets better. He promises to take the entrance exam the upcoming year. The principal is very happy, as the kids have performed exceptionally well on the admission exam. As a result, the board also decides to offer the school a 20% bonus fund. Henry returns to his classroom as usual. As he has got a new batch now, he does the fire sprinkler trick on them too. Here starts a new journey. Exploring in the forest, the children find a mysterious egg in a cave. When they break it, to find out what's inside, the whole world stops, except them. Will they enjoy the freedom they got, or will crave for a normal life? Will they ever get out of this cage? Click on the video, appearing on screen, to watch this video to find out. If you liked the movie, consider sharing it with your friends. Show them, you found a great movie today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.